Hi members, it's Vinod here from GrowWealth. Let's look at the last week watchlist performance and also new names for the forthcoming week. You probably have been monitoring the market, that it has been pretty violent and volatile in the last week. Lots of drama going on with short squeeze with the names like GME, AMC, and so on. And as a result, I believe, and also the market has been pretty frothy recently, so it needs to pull back and calm down a little bit, which is what has happened last week. And with that, some of the growth names has pulled back as well. And as a result, our portfolio and our watch list has taken a little bit of hit. So our watch list from last week has performed like this, minus 5.46% compared to the S&P 500, minus 3.31%. One of the stock outperformed the market, which is TDOC, and that's a name to be monitored very closely. And I have it in my long-term portfolio as well, and it certainly is performing better. His relative strength is better last week. So that's how it had performed. We'll look at the charts in a few seconds, and these are the new names for the forthcoming watch list, for the forthcoming week's watch list. So as you can see, there are three names that I continued from the previous weeks: PGNY, TDOC, and Halo. And I added a few more names: Onam, Yala, API, Futu, AGCO, Quidel, and Peloton, Crsp. So these names aren't immediately kind of giving you the setups, right? But these are great names. Some of them are showing good relative strength, and it's important to keep watch of this. And they could, some of them are setting up even now, but others could set up really quickly if the market has settled down and recovers. That might give us good entry points. So it'll be really good to keep a close watch on these stocks. All right, now let's go and look at the charts. So this is PGNY. As you can see, the chart is a little bit more clearer. I have removed the annotations from this for this purposes to make to keep it a bit clearer so that you can hear me out and understand how to interpret and kind of analyze with minimal kind of distractions. Okay, so as you can see, we kind of looked at the chart where in this bullish bar on the 22nd of January. We saw it on the 24th on the weekend, and then it didn't confirm, it didn't go up. So going up would have confirmed the setup. So we did not get a confirmation. Instead, it pulled back violently, came almost to the 50-day moving average. As you can see here, the red line is the 50 EMA. It came almost to that, gave a kind of a pin bar setup, spindle top, and then pushed up and closed above the T line. This is an encouraging pattern. The volume is not very supportive. It's low volume bounce, so you need to watch it. But the price is above 50-day and T line setup, so it's holding up relatively better. So this has gone up by 0.54% on Friday, when some of the market wasn't doing very well at all. The next name we had was TDOC. So we saw it here, and then it had a real big move, nearly 10% move the very next day. It had a bit of a consolidation day and pulled back. Did you see where it pulled back to? It pulled back right to the T line, and it still sits above this previous high at the T line, and it's been fairly hot. It's gone up quite a lot in the last few weeks, and it's pulled back to its natural point of T line, and it's seemingly kind of finding some support there. So if the support holds and recovers, this is a great setup to consider for your portfolio. The next one is Halo. So if you look at this, it's going sideways, right? So let's get some annotations here. So if you look at this one, for the last couple of weeks, it's going sideways. Just ignore the other annotations from previous weeks. So the yellow bar, right? So the market has pulled back quite a lot, as you can see. Let me show you the Nasdaq. So Nasdaq has pulled down quite a bit, considerably, right? Compared to that, if you look at Halo, it hasn't pulled back at all that much. It's just going sideways. So that means this is showing great relative strength compared to the market, which has pulled back. So it's important to recognize that and keep this in your watch. Continue to keep this in your watch list so that if it sets up again, you are in a better place to act on. We had Goku. Goku had pulled back quite a lot on the last day of the trading week. On Friday, over 9.5% pulled down. So previously we were holding it because it was holding up above the 21-day moving average. Then it's tried to find some support there, but on Friday it just gapped lower with a high volume bearish bar and hit the presumed stop loss and came down. I have this in my long-term portfolio, so I'm not doing anything with that. I'm just holding it. But for short-term trading, I think this setup has been invalidated. So I'm removing this from our weekly watch list for now. But as I said, I hold it in my long-term. So I have a good view about this company, the fundamentals and stuff, the industry it is in. So I'm going to hold this in my long-term for weekly watch list. From the chart pattern on, based on chart pattern, it's not a great setup right now. Next one is NEO. So NEO has pulled back a little bit, but it's finding some support at the T line on low volume. It's kind of also finding support at the previous high level. So this resistance has now become a support. You'd want to watch how this support holds the next week, depending on the market condition. If it pulls back, then of course don't get into that unless you want to take a longer term position closer to the 50-day moving average, or wait and watch if it recovers and then take action. Because of this setup and some of the other names that I'm interested in, I'm removing NEO from our watch list. But any watch list names that I mentioned previously are all real good names. Most of them are good companies as well. So keep track of them in your own watch list. I can't cover all of them at all the time. So the intention is to show you different names, different chart setup, so that you are then able to do that yourself for some of the names that aren't covered in subsequent watch lists. So although this won't feature in our forthcoming watch list, NEO is a great name in great industry. So keep that on your list and watch out. Next one is TGT, Target. So this has pulled back really wildly as well, but it's seemingly finding some support at the 50 moving average and right at the previous resistance level. So if this finds some support and recovers, this may be a good play for medium to long term as well. It has a very good earnings the last couple of times, so this might be a good one to have in your portfolio for long term. But for now, I'm removing from my watch list for this week, the forthcoming week. But similar to what I said earlier, keep it on your list as a separate secondary watch list to see how it acts, whether it finds support here and recovers or not. Moving on, let's go to the watch list for the week starting the 1st of February, right? So we have 3 names identified already. That is PG&Y, Teladoc, and Halo. The other new names were Onam, it's in healthcare. So if you look at this, let's go to the weekly chart. The weekly chart has gained 0.58%. It's giving a doji spinning top candle, but it outperformed the market where the S&P was minus 3.3%, right? So this has ended the week in a positive territory. So this is good. And it's still above the previous resistance level, right? So it is something to keep a watch of on a daily chart. It's still holding up and positively so. There's an increase in volume, and the price has increased on Friday, and it's about the T line, and all the moving averages are pointing upwards. So that is a good setup. Yala. All right. So if you look at it, similar to Onam, the price had gone up on Friday on high volume. There are 4 high volume days in 5-day week last week, which is incredibly significant compared to market, which has been really weak. If you look at the weekly chart, you can see how strong the week has been. It increased 37% last week. So I did not come across this chart last week. It came to my radar just now, and I like this. It is above the previous resistance here, and it's above the T line. It seemed to have gone up quite a bit and then pulled back. So we will have to see how the Monday market opens and trades. But in general, I like this stock setup very well. Next one is API. So let me zoom out, or let me go to the weekly. So this is a new IPO stock. It's trying to break out of this resistance from April, the week by end of the week starting the 31st August, sorry. And recently there is high volume coming up. So if you look at the bottom of the screen where the volume is, so more bullish days have higher volumes, and the bearish weeks have lower volume, which is a good indication that big money is coming into the stock. So it's ended the week in a very positive note. Friday was a positive day as well. It gave a shooting star candle on Thursday, but then on Friday it held up. So this is a good one to have on your list. The next one is Futu. It's holding up really nicely above the T line, 50-day moving average, and also the 21-day moving average. Although there were some profit taking from earlier on in the week, the whole week it held up really well above the T line. Looking at the weekly chart, as you can see, it's slightly bit extended on weekly, above the 8-period EMA for weekly. However, the daily is holding up really nicely. So something to watch. There's all possibilities that it may pull back again down in order to touch the moving averages on the weekly chart. But let's keep an open mind with this. It's a great growth stock, highly volatile, and can be lucrative as well. So this is added to our watch list now. The next one is AGCO. So earlier in the week, it pulled back really violently on high volume. Right? Could you see? So it just plummeted, and it found some support at previous high levels and also the 50 EMA, and had a real strong bullish candle with high volume on Thursday, and it did not give much back on Friday. So this is showing some good strength. So that's the previous high. So there are some support at the previous high level from the 23rd of December, and also finding support at 50 EMA. So I would like to watch this stock going forward. Trudell. This is acting really well, a bit too volatile for my liking. There are some gaps here. So there's a big gap here. So this stock tends to gap quite a bit. There's a gap here on earnings, right? And then there's a gap here. So this many gaps aren't very good. So this gap is filled here. This gap is trying to fill here, but there's another gap coming up here. So you'd want to be a bit cautious with this type of volatile names with so many gaps. But having said that, the stock is performing really well compared to the index in the last week. And on Friday, it gapped up 10% on high volume. Looking at the weekly chart, it's providing a wedge pattern, and it's trying to break out of this wedge pattern, right? And because it had an excellent move from end of last year to August period, so it moved from $55 to $300 in a matter of half a year, and it's taking some time off and setting a new setup now in the longer term. So this could be a real good chart for a long term if it breaks out and confirms. Right now, I want to see whether the momentum that it started having towards the end of last week continues, and if so, that might provide a good entry point for us. Next one is Peloton. So this is the company that provides the Peloton bikes and exercise equipments at home, which found its popularity during the work from home coronavirus lockdown period, and we're still in a lockdown, so the demand is still there. The earnings are coming up on the 4th of February. That is something to be watched. But the reason I like this stock is it kind of pulled back to 50-day EMA, and then it's kind of giving us triple doji and inside day. So it's trying to find some support here. There's not much of selling coming up. I think people are waiting for the earnings to come up, and it is still above the previous high from October right here, right? So you could see that high has acted as support on the 6th of January, and again the last week on the 27th of January. So there are confluence of support here, 50 EMA, 6th January, 15th October. So this line is a significant support at 139, 140 level. If it breaks down, then the thesis is nullified. If it holds and moves above the T line and this yellow box, then that can confirm a potential new uptrend on the stock. Crsp. So similarly, Crsp is giving us a similar kind of consolidation pattern right at 50 EMA level with a series of dojis, right? And it is also at towards this level here. Where is it? This high, right? It's around that level. Okay. And Crsp is a great company in the great sector. It's in genomics. It's the Crisp technology based company, and it can be a long-term winner. So if you look at the weekly chart, you could see where it has come from in a short while. So on a weekly chart, it broke out of this resistance for this consolidation phase for a couple of years by end of June, and since June, it's moved over 100 points, 130 points, and it's kind of naturally pulling back. Right? There is another consolidation phase here, right? And it's coming down to the T line for 8-week moving average. The volume is a little bit high during the pullback, so that is slightly bit concerning, but the market has been like that in the last week. But the last few days are encouraging. So I'd want to closely watch this. If it gives a good setup, then that is fantastic for us because it can provide shorter term setup to trade. And also this is a great stock to monitor and have in the long-term portfolio as well. I'm watching closely. I don't have it yet, but I'm watching closely for long-term as well. So that completes the watch list for the forthcoming week. So these are the names that we are looking for forthcoming weeks. Stay safe. The market is a bit volatile. Don't jump in because a lot of people are saying that they are making money. Understand the setup. Understand your style of trading, and have a risk management system as well. So play safe. All right. All the best. I speak to you next week in next week's watch list. Bye.